Welcome to the Cover Your Assets podcast, a show for the physician who understands the importance of protecting everything you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to find the peace of mind that only financial security can bring, let's get started. Here's your host, Billy Gwaltney.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of the Cover Your Assets podcast. I'm your host, Billy Gwaltney. It's good to be with you today. Today I'm going to answer a common question, which is how frequently can I increase coverage as an attending via the benefit increase rider or the future increase option? And we're going to talk about both riders today on this episode. In working with thousands of physicians, helping them get their private specialty disability coverage, we usually start working with a physician client in their training. And then either soon or several years after they start the policy, they will transition to becoming an attending. Income goes up a lot. And we go through the formula that insurance carriers have to calculate how much insurance they can increase by. And usually it is common for a client starting their attending career to have maybe a 2 or 3 year contract salary kind of guaranteed income, and then they transition to where they're getting bonuses or production incentives, and then maybe going completely to partner or RVU generated or production based income. And so their income can take several steps, significant steps higher over the first decade or so of their career, and maybe beyond then, but certainly within that first kind of ramp up period of 5 to 10 years. And so the question comes up, hey, I want my income. It's very common for a client to express a desire to make sure that their coverage is on pace with their income, especially as their expenses increase, their family grows, their dreams and aspirations become clearer and become attainable. They want to make sure that if they can't do their specialty, then they get paid, and they get paid according to what their current income is at that particular time. We'll start with clients that have the future increase option. For clients that have the future increase option, you're typically eligible to increase coverage right away once you become an attending. And then once you have the policy and have been an attending, you're eligible on or about the anniversary date of the policy, okay? The window for increasing coverage through the future increase option is anywhere from 30 to 60 days before the policy anniversary up to 30 to 60 days after the policy anniversary. So you're looking at a 2 to 4 month window where you can flip the switch to increase coverage on an annual basis, okay? Sometimes they'll allow an exception to do what they call an off anniversary increase. So if your policy anniversary is January and you get a big increase in July or August and you don't want to wait till the following January, then depending on the carrier, they can make an exception to let you increase. It's up to the broker to, in a lot of cases, to push for that and advocate for that. So it's kind of a case-by-case basis. We do get a lot of exceptions for clients that want to do that, especially if the income increase is noticeable, if it's 20% or more, and it's reasonable for someone to want higher insurance. We've certainly made that case. We made it recently for 2 clients with a carrier that's pretty rule-driven and strict in how they enforce their rules, and we got them to make exceptions for both. So it's important to work with a specialist that these carriers know and like working with, and that can make a valid point for why they should make the exception. And they're open to it a lot of times. So for the future increase option, that's generally how it works, on or about the anniversary, with exceptions on a case-by-case basis for off anniversary increases. For the benefit increase rider, Guardian calls theirs the benefit purchase rider. Principal calls theirs the benefit update or the maximize your benefit rider. Is essentially the non-cost. There's no cost associated with the rider, and there's the every 3 year rule that says every 3 years you need to update your income with the insurance carrier. If you don't do that, then they take the rider off the policy. And anytime you're eligible for more insurance, you need to increase by at least 50% of that additional amount, or they also take the rider off the policy. There are exceptions like graduation where you do not have to wait for the 3-year anniversary to increase. And a couple of carriers will allow you to increase more than once within the first 3 years of the policy, and perhaps even within the first 6 years of the policy. They too, in the benefit increase rider, contractually, they can allow one off anniversary increase, and then otherwise you would have to wait until the 3-year anniversary. But they're now allowing more flexibility for those scenarios where an attending's income is going to ramp up quicker. Certain surgical, I mean, they're just a number of specialties now, whether they're surgical or not, where people's income, we have clients where their income is just going up pretty rapidly in the first 5 years, and they may not want to wait 2.5 more years to do another increase. And so carriers have listened to that and are becoming more flexible with that. Just understand that with the benefit increase rider, or whatever your particular insurance carrier calls that, that has the every 3-year requirement attached to it. Anytime you do an increase, whether it's at the 3 years or an off-cycle increase, based on your attending income, you have to increase by at least 50% of the maximum that you're eligible for. Okay, if you don't do that, then they take the rider off the policy. So, for example, if you have $5,000 a month, and as an attending, you're now, whether you do it early or whether you wait 3 years, you're eligible for, let's say, $15,000 a month. You're going to need to at least bump up to $10,000 a month if you want that benefit increase rider to remain on your policy and be accessible in the next 3 years. The reason that future increase option and the benefit increase rider are so important, and understanding these rules and guidelines is important, is because these riders allow you to increase coverage without redoing any of the medical screening. So you don't have to be as healthy as you were when you started. They contractually, if it's done correctly, contractually guarantee the definitions that you're going to have are going to be the same definitions that are on your base policy, original policy. And you're going to get the same rate and same trainee discount on everything you buy. And so there are no moving parts if you've done it right. Okay, if you have one of the top specialty carriers. And so you're removing all the risk associated with any updated medical screening and not having trainee discount access if you're an attending, which you a lot of times would not have access to discounts. And so the riders are important. Understanding when you can increase is important, but it's also important to push the envelope and make sure that you're at a coverage amount based on your income that's reasonable and that you should be and that you want to be to protect you and your family. And by push the envelope, I mean make sure that your broker, make sure that the insurance carrier will allow you to do it. Don't just assume they won't do it because it's not the 3-year anniversary yet. And so we help our clients routinely make sure that they have the coverage that they deserve and are entitled to based on their income. That's a big deal. Expenses go up during the time of claim. You cannot increase coverage after you're on a claim. So you just want to make sure you have the coverage that you want and need, and that's not a surprise that you don't have what you want or need if you're disabled. So hope you found this helpful. I know this is a lot of information to absorb, on a podcast. I would be happy to discuss your situation further. Feel free to text me at 704-270-2376. Again, 704-270-2376. Grateful for your time. See you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Cover Your Assets podcast, an Odd Conduit media production. New episodes drop every 2 weeks. If you've enjoyed the conversation, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. For more tips and advice, visit the website and YouTube channel. Check the show notes for links. Join us next time for another episode dedicated to helping physicians like you get your disability insurance right and protect your way of life.